Am I audible to you all?
Yes, Richa, you're
Yes, Richa.
right.
Okay. So, hello
Yes.
everyone. First, I would like to give some introduction about our company. We are a data center modernization company, and we are focusing on transforming the on-premises data center of our customers to modern hybrid or public cloud-based data centers, along with elasticity, flexibility, and scalable capacity. We have achieved this transformation through our four key elements, that is planning, assessment, discovery, infrastructure solution deployment, and workload migrations, application innovations and migrations, data and AI solutions. With a proven track record over 25 years, we have been transforming our customers' infrastructure through best of breed technology solutions. Also, we help many businesses in addressing solving some critical aspects like high availability, disaster recovery, scalability, performance, economy, and cost rationalization. About our today's webinar, the adoption of a cloud computing and its implementation depends upon variety of technical and non-technical factors. That is a fundamental reference point is needed as a guidance that can be used. The framework gives customer a set of tools, guidance, and narratives that help shape technology, businesses, and people strategies for driving desired business outcome. During their adoption efforts, this guidance aligned to different phase of cloud adoption life cycle, ensuring easy access to the right guidance at the right time. So, in this webinar, we will call digital transformation, challenges faced by infrastructure teams in adopting the transformation, planning the cloud journey, Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework, implementing governance in the cloud era. So now I would like to hand over to Shubham Verma. He is our cloud adoption specialist and he would like to announce some offers related to WVD. Shubham, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Richa. So I am Shubha Verma, the cloud adoption specialist from Synergetics. And before we start with the webinar, I'll just take 2 of your minutes to announce certain promotional offers that are we and Microsoft both are running together. So as you all know, today's webinar is with respect to Windows Virtual Desktop, and in the current COVID scenario where we all are forced to work from home, Windows virtual desktops, or if I could say virtual desktops, have been a very good tool to give you the remote working solutions that you need. So we as a company are closely working with Microsoft to help companies adopt cloud. And for that, with respect to Windows virtual desktop, we have come up with certain offers, which is assessment survey. So we'll be after this, since you are a part of this webinar, we'll be helping you to understand your current cloud environment. We'll understand your current cloud environment and we'll suggest you solutions with respect to that. And also if Windows Virtual Desktop would be a use to you or not. So we'll be giving that consultation for free over a one-on-one session. And this is what I was actually wanting to announce, is that we are giving 30% off for 90 days on Windows Virtual Desktop computing cost. So that is flat 30% off for 90 days. But this offer is only valid till March. So after this webinar, if we get into the call and we realize that WED solutions would be adding value to your organizations, so from there we could take it forward. Apart from that, we have certain business continuity and cloud adoption offers as well. So assessment survey, as I mentioned before, we'll be sharing you a list of questions wherein you will be stating about your cloud journey or your cloud status with us, and we'll be analyzing that and we'll be giving you suggestions with respect to that. Also, with respect to if you're already on cloud, and you want optimization with respect to your cost. So we'll be providing you a advisory report, a sample of advisory report of how you can cut down your monthly recurring cost over Azure. So these are certain packages that have been designed by Microsoft, and we as partners are helping our customers to implement them, which is WVD, security, disaster recovery, or basic business continuity. So we as Synergetics, what we do is we help our client to get educated, which is one form of which is this webinar. Then we analyze and advise them solutions. We also help them with their implementation, and after that, we also help them manage their workloads over cloud. So this is where the Synergetics plays an important role. Those are the Synergetic services. And again, with the cloud adoption journey, there are different packages that Microsoft has designed. So these are just an estimated cost, which is mentioned there. That is 1.5K, 300K per month for SAP, etc. But your actual billing would be based on whatever the consumption is, since you all know that cloud is a pay as you go model. So whatever is the consumption, you pay for that. Now, starting with the webinar, I would like to introduce Mr. Nadraj Prabhu. He is our customer success manager, and he will be taking forward from here. Nadraj, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Shubham. Thank you for the warm welcome. I hope I'm audible to everyone. Can you just confirm? Shubham?
Yes,
I'm
sir,
audible
perfectly.
enough? Okay, that's great. Thank you, Shubham. So, before getting into this webinar, I just want to have a quick introduction because I see that there are a few people who have joined, and I just want to know from your perspective, what is you're trying to achieve from this session. So, what is your understanding about WVD or Windows Virtual Desktop as a solution, and what are you trying to achieve over here? So, starting with Amardeep is the first person. So, individual persons can just unmute themselves and introduce their about themselves and their organization and what are they looking into for today's webinar session. Hello, Amardeep.
Yeah, hi, Amardeep Etale here. So I'm from Godrej Infotech. My department is Operations and Technology Group. So
Okay.
I look after endpoints,
Okay.
end user services
Okay.
for Godrej, and we support Godrej and Boys for IT support.
Okay, that's great. Welcome to this webinar, Amardeep. So next, there was Arun. So Arun is not here. Next, I can give the mic to Geeta, I think. Geeta, can you just introduce about yourself?
Yeah. I'm Geeta here. I'm working in OTG
Mhm.
and I'm handling endpoint projects
Mhm.
and supporting GNB and GITL both.
Okay, that's great. Both are from endpoint. That's perfect. And next, Mr. Hussein. Hello, Hussein. Hussein, if you're speaking, your voice is not audible. Okay, I think we'll come back to Hussein later. Hi, Jyoti. Sorry, hi, Josna. My bad. Hi, Josna. Are you there? Okay, Josna is also not responding. Rohan Shetty, can you introduce about yourself? Rohan, you're on mute if you're speaking. Okay.
Okay, can I speak? This is Hussein here.
Yeah, hi Hussein. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, actually, one of my device was having the problem with the speaker.
Definitely,
My
not a
name is
problem. I think
Hussein.
that is the perfect
Yeah,
way to start this session as well. I believe you should start looking
yeah,
to solution.
uh, yeah. So my name is Hussein Naqvi. I'm working as ECM Senior Solution Architect in Datamatics. And actually, the main purpose for attending this webinar is to know more about WVD, how we can use that, what are the benefits we can get over like the classical way of working on the desktop. So that's the main reason to join this webinar and how we can get the benefit for my organization with this.
Oh, that's great, Hussein. Thank you for joining the session. And next,
Appreciate it.
Mr. Sanjeev.
Hi sir, myself Sanjay. I
Hi,
work in
Sanjay.
Red Hat India Cloud Solution.
Okay.
My role is about migration from on-premise to cloud.
Okay. Okay. Great. So again, are you using any WVD solution, or are you looking into like as a solution? Have you come across?
Yeah, both in AWS and Azure.
Okay, perfect. So I think then you should have at the end of the session you should have a debate whether which is better. Perfect. Next, the mic is yours, Shalini. Shalini, you're not audible yet. Okay, I think we'll come back to Shalini again. Vivek, can you just go on? Tell about yourself a little bit. Okay, I think let's quickly start the session. If anyone have any doubts, you can just raise your hand. I'll try to attend the questions in between itself. Or if not, at the end of the session, I'll try to give you a brief of what you're trying to get. Okay, so before we start, yeah, today's session, as you know, it is about WVD, that is Windows Virtual Desktop. Let me quickly share my screen, and you can raise a hand to make sure that it is visible.
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect. So today's session is about WVD. As I told you, again, WVD is one of the solutions when it comes to VDI. So VDI being Virtual Desktop as a Service. So virtual desktop is a very well-known concept which was introduced by Citrix, VMware, and other third-party tools. And recently, Microsoft has introduced a service that is Windows Virtual Desktop. So how well it is working with Windows, because Microsoft and Windows being a same native softwares together, so it works perfectly well. But again, what does the leverage and what is the benefit that you're getting by using the Windows Virtual Desktop? And as an endpoint solution, it is how useful enough, how much it can replace your existing laptop, or whether it can replace it, or whether all your needs that you're trying to satisfy with the help of providing a laptop to an employee, can it be replaced with this solution, is something which we will go through each and every slide of this session. So let me quickly go into the next part of the slide. Okay. So when it comes to virtualization, there are three main parts which we usually address. One is the security and regulations part. Next is the flexibility of the workspace, and third one is the specialized workloads. So when it comes to an endpoint device, either it can be a laptop, a mobile, or it can be an iPad or any kind of tablet. Why? Because nowadays the technology has come so well that it is not necessary you have to open a laptop in order to do your work. You can use any mode of device in order to attain whatever you're trying to perform. Either it is just a simple mailing service, or it's some kind of application which you're trying to open, or it's a customized, well-defined architect of something like an Azure portal which you're trying to manage. Again, how well these services can be accessed is a key crucial part. Whether if we have allowed it openly to everyone to attain to address or access these your customized application, whether are your security and regulations are in place. Okay, first thing that always comes into the picture is, okay, providing a device is fine. Are they only using my devices which I have provided to them into a secured and regulatory manner? Are they copying the secured and PII data which they are being shared with them to somewhere else? Because these are the concerns that is usually being addressed in terms of finance service, healthcare, and government sectors. Because being into a BFSI solution, I can 100% say that WBD as a service would attain you and suffice you in these models. But what are things and intuition features it can provide in order to gain this kind of a service is something which we're going to see in the future slide. The second part of the feature which is going to address is
I cannot hear. Nataraj, you are not audible.
hello.
Yeah, Nataraj.
I'm not. So,
So I believe Mr. Nadraj is having some network issues. I'll just check with him. Give me like 30 seconds and get back.
now.
Yeah, Nataraj, you are audible, but your voice is breaking.
Hello. Hello.
Your voice is still breaking. Can you just switch networks?
Okay. Yeah, I'll just switch my network. Okay, how about now? Is it better?
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay.
Nataraj. Go ahead.
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay. Sorry guys, having some network issue from my side. Apologies. So as I was saying, the second thing what we will be focusing on is that how flexible it is for you to work from any place, because at the current COVID situation, it is very important that work should not get delayed because of the lack of device or your endpoint or the medium which you can perform your activity. Correct. So in that case, how the solution can help you and attain you, and also it can easily be scaled up or scaled down at any endpoint solution provides. So that is also something which we look into. And third thing is the specialized workloads. So there are a couple of workloads which needs a specialized device in order to make use of. For something with respect to the video designing, or something like AutoCAD software, or even the Adobe Creator, or even a simple IR solutions will help you attain a lot of activities which is necessary. Even a dev test environment which needs to specialize workloads such as SAP or any other video content creation requires a very high graphical unit softwares. So in order to run that, how easily you can procure that device and provide it to the end user so that the work do not get delayed. So these are the main address areas that we're going to focus on WBD service. Okay, so in WBD there are 6 main factors which we have to consider. One is the best user experience, enhanced security, simplified management, then how well it is being standardized, and how it is cost efficient comparatively to the traditional software devices as well as the laptop and other devices, and how extensive and you can integrate with your existing application as well as the user interface. Okay, so these 5 major factors are crucial enough. Even it requires a little bit of adaptability time in order to make sure that you get the usability of all these services. So coming to the licensing factor, which is I would say that at any point, if you're already using your existing M3, M5 or O365 license, then you can leverage those services with the help of software assurance and get it accumulated on your existing EA partners, or even there are license providers on which using which you can leverage these kind of services, so that the cost of the initial investment which you are going to make will get reduced. With respect to the virtualization, there are factors such as WBD allows you to connect from any devices. Okay, it can be a Windows device, OS device, iOS device, or Android device. Regardless of any device, even with a simple set of browsers, you will be able to log into your machine and perform your activity. Okay. The second factor is it makes you feel like you're just logging in from your own personal laptop because you already been using that, and also on top of that it will give you the best performance what is necessary, and the scalability of the performance would be impeccable. And at some point even you can use your existing Windows Hello Business authentication in order to log into your work machine. So this gives you a leverage of not using multiple credentials in order to log in. And secondly, it uses something called containerization, which allows you to store the user profiles in a very fast mechanism where FS Logic solution is being used and all the profiles are being stored in a VHD solution. Coming to the Windows Virtual Desktop, being a native Windows application, the compatibility between the Windows and Windows Virtual Desktop machines are very high. So if you are already using existing Windows machine, then you can have one specific feature which allows you to remotely access any application, any custom application or a native application without even logging into that particular device. So that is the look and feel of experience that you will be attaining from that. And next is that you will notice there are 2 core services that is called out over here, that is O365 and Teams. So there are a couple of engineering teams who are working in hard to make sure that customer gets the best experience possible when they use the O365 and Teams application, and when they do it in a very virtual deployment, which means that Teams would always try to attain the least minimum bandwidth when you're trying to do a video or audio call when you're using the Windows Virtual Desktop. So the bandwidth utilization get reduced, and also you will not be consuming high bandwidth because of the latency that is being attained over here. Next is in terms of security, there is 3 security advantages which you get with respect to WBD as a service alone. So the attack surface is reduced because first thing is that you're using a second factor authentication in order to log into any of the application or the devices. Okay, it is sophisticated enough so that the services are easily configured through your existing AD. Secondly, there is the ability to define a rollback access control, which means a particular set of roles can be applied. You don't need to have a larger permissions or a higher permission in order to maintain these particular resources. So granular level of permissions can be provided in order to protect the sensitive data. And finally, every customer can ask this, are any user sessions are being isolated? Yes, even in multi-session environment, there are isolation that is being taken care with respect to this service. So if there are two users who are supposedly logging into the same instance, neither of them will be able to see what the other person is doing, what is the applications are open, or even the work they are performing. So that level of segregation is something which is being taken care. So in terms of efficiency and simplified management, we are assessing that WVD will be more efficient and more simpler for customers to use in these three categories. First is that for the start, it's a one service for both desktop as well as remote app. Okay, so admins only need to learn only one service. Okay, WVD is one of the service in Azure. So among around 560 services, I think, major services which are being currently imposed, in that WVD is only one of the solution. And they are still trying to build a lot of tools which can aspire and give the most performance comprehensive solution in order to manage this with the partner solutions as well. So not only the existing application, that is your customized SAP application or ERP application, or it can be a CRM application. So all these applications can just be allowed access to a particular user without even logging into his device with the help of WVD as a service. Also, there is a second factor authentication in place, and also these all logging in profiles would be maintained in Azure Active Directory as a service for a logon activity. So it is a perfect end-to-end solution which takes care of all the things. And also it provides you a simplified and efficient troubleshooting mechanism. So for advanced diagnostic logs and services, it already enables and tells you what needs to be performed when something goes down. There is hardly any manual intervention that need to be made. And it also has a very good API services that can be attached. For example, if there is a printer or a fingerprint service that need to be used as an external third party. So again, there are APIs that is available in order for you to print from that particular device remotely and get the things done. So as you know, it is built on Azure, so it is standardized and it is globally available. And not only that, it is more secure. As you know that Azure is one of the most secured cloud, and recently they have already won the bid for the JEDI project in US. And since then, they have already invested $1 billion annually for the cybersecurity alone. And there are 6.5 trillion global signals daily that is being caught. And every day, when a new vulnerability or intrusion happens and it is being logged, and next time the remediation is being taken automatically by Azure Data Center team. And as you know, currently Azure is available in 56 regions. So it is not updated, it's not 54, it is 56 regions at the moment. So there is hardly any latency that you will experience at the moment. In terms of standardization, so cloud has typically three elements, that is compute, storage, and network. Apart from that, there is no other elements as such. But again, this in terms of services, there is a PaaS service on which you don't have to take care of the infrastructure. Correct. So WVD works in two manners. One is that you can use the IaaS and PaaS both combined together in order to deploy the services. If not, there is a latest method which allows you to use the Azure Kubernetes cluster along with the microservices integration, which is more feasible in order to maintain the infrastructure. So this will be very helpful when you are trying to integrate with your DevOps platform. coming to the economical factors and cost saving, so as I told you, from the licensing perspective, if you're already using M365, O365 or Windows 10 license, using software assurance, you can leverage that license and get it certified over here. And you can use the same cost benefit which you're using for normal Windows license. And apart from that, there is a reserve instance cost which you can apply from top of the 70%, and almost you will have the best possible solution that can be available with the least price. And the flexibility and the network provisioning part is can be a part of your existing network, so you don't have to have an additional network device or network firewall in order to maintain this particular service. And there is only operational cost. As you know, cloud only purely works on the operational cost. There is no capital that is required. And WD management service includes the license that you already own, which I told you earlier, which is with respect to the Windows or your M365 license. And there is no RDS CAL license which is necessary, which you typically use for your broker sessions on your remote desktops as a service. So over here, you're getting the multi-session feature of free of cost without using a RDS CAL license. And if you're worried that I'm still lacking behind and using my Windows 7 machines, then WBD as a service supports Windows 7 with the extended security update patch units for next 3 years. So you don't have to worry about your Windows 7 environment. You can simply upgrade it to WBD as a service and leverage that. As you know, Windows 7 has already reached its end of life last year. So again, the labor cost in order to procure a device and maintain it and perform an AMC on top of the devices that you procured would all be cut off, and purely it will be a simple click of a button solution. So that is what we are looking into in terms of innovation. So next is in terms of the labor cost. So the labor cost involves, in terms of which I told you, there are two kinds of environment which you can use. That is infrastructure as a service and PaaS as a service combined together, or the Kubernetes service. So both of them requires the least amount of work, because infrastructure as a service, the hardware is being maintained by the Microsoft environment, so you don't have to worry and take the overhead of that. And PaaS service even leverage just the most of the ability that is in terms of infrastructure, that is compute, storage, or the network components are also not your overhead. That is also being managed by Microsoft environment. So in terms of the application integration, so the Citrix and VMware works pretty well so far with respect to the approved partners list. So you can use your existing Citrix and VMware as well and integrate with the WVD as a service in order to make sure that it works perfectly fine and it is well approved. And also there are other third-party vendors in order to establish a connectivity in terms of customer environment assessment or the diagnostic to gain more insights of your existing resources, or application layering, that's something which you want to troubleshoot, or even the manageability if you have something requirement like an auto scaling. These all things can be taken care of with the value added partners who are available, such as PeopleTech, ThinkBrink, or the Nerdo. So next, we are going to go in depth of the best experience when I told you that you're going to get from the WVDS service. So as you know, it can be accessed from any of the devices such as Windows, Mac, iOS, or any browser-based application. And not only that, you will be able to access it from Linux SDKs as well, which are available in a Genome softwares. So the differential factor with respect to the Windows experience is it is easy to integrate with your existing Windows laptop. So there is no much of a password security concern, that because already credential vault which you're using on the laptop can store the existing Windows Hello authentication. And there is a remote app which allows you to distinguish the local app from the remote app so which gives you the leverage of not even logging into the particular device to gain the application access. And there are other third-party tools as well which allows you to gain more accessibility, like such as JAWS. In terms of RDP enhancement, it supports Windows Hello, as I told you. Then there is a dynamic adaptation of the bandwidth utilization. So if you are using a video call or any other kind of sessions, then you will be able to get the at least bandwidth, and the latency would be very low. And additional to that, if you're using any additional softwares or any other hardwares in order to integrate, such as camera printers or any other fingerprint scanners, you can easily integrate with WVD as a service without any issues. So again, it is part of an API service that is available. And dynamic scaling, again, it comes with the third-party service API. So there are a couple of native things that we have to consider. Apart from that, there is something called 4K dynamic downsampling, which allows you to improve the result of video frame rates into 30 frame rates per second. So that is the least that you're going to get, and it was purely high. If you're a gamer, you would know what is 30 frames per second and how important it can be. So people who are creating a gaming environment can definitely take advantage of this feature. So all the user profiles are stored in a FS Logic environment, so which allows you to dynamically log on and log off in an extreme speed. So which allows you to, even if you are trying to download Outlook OST file which has more than 1 million mails, it will just simply take a couple of seconds in order to load that. So you don't feel any issues even when you're trying to shut down the machines and log on back to the same profile without any content disappearing on the native location. So as I told you, Outlook Online mode was preferred mode in terms of virtual environment and worked reasonably well. So in order to connect to the Exchange on-premises mailbox, with moving the mailbox from Exchange to on-premises O65, online was made, and it was not acceptable by many of the clients because of various reasons. Correct. And when customers switch to the cache mode, it takes startup time, and there was slow on loading a lot of things. In order to reload that, people downloaded the OST files manually and kept it. But with the help of the caching mode, it improves a lot of synchronization features which is required in the O65 and Outlook as a service. So that's where FS Logic comes into the picture and helps you, gives you a persistent storage and allows you to load the data at a very faster rate. So even if you're using a OneDrive sync, it allows you to give a very fast syncing, and it won't make you realize whether you have logged in and synced your files to your OneDrive and again viewing it from some other devices. So coming to Teams, so if both the end users are using Teams and they are trying to do perform a video call, it uses the Azure network consumption bandwidth. So which means the Azure data center will take the least network bandwidth comparatively to the USB camera devices that you're using in terms of a video conference calls or anything. So it allows you to give the native data center traffic flow between the two peered zones, and it also increases the video frame rate to 30 frame rates per second. And even it has the enhanced UI, so it is not like you are going to compromise in terms of the UI or the visibility or the lag or the bit rate. So there is a fast UI capability which is available, and also there is an ability to redirect multiple cameras altogether, and it allows you to perform it in a very high, and also there won't be any latency on the video calls. So it has the ability to integrate with the existing Active Directory. So the NPS extensions which you are already using, or the NPS brokers and RDP gateways, can be integrated in order to get the least factor. And also it has few capabilities which it distinguish from the on-premises virtualization. Something like implementing an MFA on the on-premises takes a lot of headache, but with respect to the Azure WVD as a service, Azure Active Directory already provides MFA, and it also provides something called conditional access, on which you can set up a policies in terms of these particular users requires to log in from their devices from only from a particular set of region or a particular set of IP address, or they cannot log in from a place somewhere like Antarctica or any other region. So being in a pharma solution these days, you might have a lot of attentions or ransomware attack that you possess. So all these WAF protections can be applied in order to maintain the integral security of your network. So since it uses the reverse logic in order to get the gateway connection, so no inbound ports are being opened. So it reduces the exposure to attack and provides you the lesser time to monitor an inbound ports, and also focuses alerts on accessing an identity based attack. So next, I told you it provides you the granular access. So you don't need to provide owner access or admin access to everyone. You can give a granular role level access in order to manage a particular set of features or a particular set of activity. So roles like owner, contributor, or the operator roles can be provided. So this is the leveraging the least principal activity. So customer-based scenarios can be applied in terms of deploying Windows 10 sessions. So setting up the same environment on the on-premises, it takes a lot of overhead and headache. But this being a ready-made solution, it is easy for you to create, and it takes hardly a minute to create a new profile and deliver the environment to the client. So users can also be isolated, and whether they are using a single sign-on or multi sign-on, and the end user would not be able to identify how many users are logging to the same machine. So both desktop and remote app provides you the feature of getting the least labor activity, and also time required to manage this VDI and sessions are very low. Because setting up a server and on top of the remote desktop as a service, then creating a profile would take a lot of manpower. And it is a readily available solution. You can already use Azure ARM templates in order to deploy. Even the updates can be managed with the help of update management as a service, and it provides you creation of multiple images with multiple set of OS and the tools that are required inside that image. So the feasibility and the flexibility gives you a lot of various way to think and leverage this solution to a different department, because the image that you're going to provide for the finance department and the HR department are not going to be ideal and same, because the set of tools and the service that they're going to use are going to vary a lot. So that level of customization is something which you can think with the help of the solution. Also with respect to the DR, so disaster recovery is something which we always plan for a server and critical workload, but when it comes to this endpoint solution, you can again think of a DR as a solution as well, because this gives you a leverage of 99.999, that is 5 times 9 level of SLA is something which you will be getting with the help of this. And it is a very simplified and versatile tool, and there are a lot of automations that are available in order to attain this. So there is an advanced diagnostic service which allows you to help you solve if you come across any issues or a service related problem. So you don't have to manage multiple servers and understand where what issue has went wrong. So that level of overhead is something which you can avoid, because the advanced diagnostic service will help you exactly analyze where the problem arises and what is the activity that you need to perform in order to fix that solution, fix that problem, and what is the solution. And also you can automate with the help of the automation, something like a Chef, Puppet, or an Ansible kind of a software, and integrate it with your existing SIEM tool to push these kind of services. So this gives you a faster root cause analysis identification as well as the resolution for the same. So the third party integration with the other softwares are very viable, and it is rapidly growing in WBD as a service, because WBD as a service has recently been came into the picture of Azure platform. But again, in terms of the API calls, there are more than 150 API services that is available at the moment in order for the service to leverage the third-party softwares. So this part I think we are already covered. So there are a lot of ISV vendors who support WBD as a service. So there are system integrators who already set up more than 100,000 environment of WBD for their clients. So it is cost beneficial in terms of their infrastructure provided, because you can leverage multiple of the things that you're already using, such as Windows 10 license or the cloud reserved instance capability, and again the Azure hybrid license benefits which you use for your Windows Server license and your M365 or O365 licenses. So this almost reduces the cost of the service to just 20% if you already have the particular set of needed additional components that is being used here. So the major component in terms of multi-session host that is used is remote desktop service license, and that is not being used here. So you'll be saving a lot of money in terms of consumption. So it roughly gives you a cost of 85% reduction from the traditional RDS as a service. So economically, you can think of on-premises virtualization as well. So why not I'm considering that? Because again, in terms of on-premises, there are resources that you're going to deploy. There is a capex cost, and again, there is a maintenance cost. And in cloud, as you know, there is only OPEX, there is only pay-as-you-go method available. On top of that, reservations, and you can only pay when you're going to use it. If you are not going to use it, you can simply shut it down and create an automation to start the instance only from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So that level of leverage is something which you can look into in order to save the cost. So the data transfer is purely based on the actual outbound traffic that has been taken away. So the one key difference between AWS and Azure is that Azure doesn't take the cost of whatever data is coming inside the Azure data center. So there is no in-grace cost that is there. So which is not the same for AWS. So Azure only charges you for the outbound traffic that has been happening. So in that case, you will be again you are saving almost around 20% of the actual cost. So one of the best way to compare is the WBD. You don't need to purchase any Windows Server license for your sessions. And in terms of a particular scenario, customer moves from a on-premises RDS to a Windows Virtual Desktop. For on-premises customers, you have to have a Windows Server license and each RDS VMs, and not maintain that, and provide a firewall on top of that, and make the network connectivity between each individual virtual machines, and create a cluster for the same, and make sure it is highly available. On top of that, you will be paying a lot of license cost for the client-based sessions. So all those things can be saved with the help of this particular service. So this gives you a one-to-one comparison of 65% on total. So this is a comparison for around 100 compute hours. So on a month, you can consider how much you're going to run, and based on that, again, the cost benefit will be higher for you. So again, this is something which we have already covered, that is OPEX versus CAPEX cost. So manageability of a service, we are looking into an economical benefit. So in terms of the infrastructure cost, we will again see the licensing advantage, and the WD provides management services as well. And it is a very important part of our desktop virtualization. And a bigger cost goes to this, because in on-premise environment, customer usually have to deploy the services from the scratch by the IT team. So whenever a new device is procured, so they must have a golden image, and they have to deploy it from one particular machine, and it takes a lot of time, and there are patch updates that need to be pushed, and again they should have a connectivity between the devices that has to be established. Again, the group policies has to be implicated, and make sure that devices parts are being replaced in time. So there are a lot of overhead when it comes to managing an endpoint device. So but in WBD, the manageability includes none of it, because the group policies, the AD restrictions, and also the network components that you're going to restrict, all are being taken care with the help of a condition access policies, which you already applied as a part of your organization. So RDS CAL license is something which we have covered, so I'm going to ignore it. So if you see a apple to apple comparison, there is around $17 saving per user, which per month is what you're going to see with respect to a simple RDS solution on the on-premises, remote desktop as a service solution on on-premises, to a WVD as a service in a multi-host session. So on-premises, Windows 7 is not very viable at the moment, and as you know, it has already reached the end of life, and extended security patches comes with a very huge cost. But in WBD, it is coming with a free of cost, so you can definitely leverage if you are already using Windows 7 endpoint devices. So this saves your cost up to 2000, up to $200 per year per device. So even if you are having $1,000, you're almost saving $2,000 per year per. The last cost component is the labor. So because setting up a 100 endpoint devices might even take a week or 2 weeks of time with the minimum set of manpower that you possess, correct? But setting up 100 WBD instances or the profiles would hardly take you an hour. So that is the level of automation that we can possess with the help of this service. And again, it eliminates the high overhead of association, because everything is taken from an image perspective. And again, Azure already works in an ARM template. Resources are being created on top of that. So you take a golden image and make the changes only in that, and just push a click of a button, a deployment takes place. Either if it is 100 or a 200 or a 500, it wouldn't take a lot of time what you're comparing to an on-premises instance creation. So again, there is a simplified file storage management which you can leverage with help of, by using a NetApp file share service. So comparatively, if you see all the things that we have compared, that is on-premises cost, multi-session cost, the Linux cost, the Windows cost, RDS CAL license cost, and actual what you pay, you almost saving up to 65% if you're planning to migrate your on-premises endpoint device into Azure WBD as a service. So that's a huge cost saving. Last is in terms of the integrity. So Microsoft WBD as a service is integrated with the two major players, that is Citrix and VMware. Apart from that, there are other value-added partners which allows you to create a lot of API services in order to establish connectivity between their hardware devices. So Liquidware, CloudJump, Lakeside, PeopleTech are some of the key players. Again, there are WBD hardware partners with respect to establishing the whole environment on your on-premises as well. That is a HP, Lenovo, Dell, Samsung, etc. So this is my final slide. So comparatively, if you see, the customer environment assessment is being taken by Lakeside, Liquidware, and ControlUp, and they also deliver some of the other things with help of Azure Migrate and OCP as a service. And with respect to the diagnostic, advanced diagnostic and end-to-end user experience monitoring, it has been taken again by Lakeside and Liquidware. So accessing, monitoring, and managing the end user's experience and GUI, all those things are being taken care by them. So again, all these images are predominantly available in Azure Marketplace, so you can procure from there, uh, or otherwise there are client websites which are available in order to help you attain this. So one of the main component which I usually come across is the printer services. So printer services are being again provided by UP Print and ThinkPrint. So this solution can again be procured from Azure Marketplace in order to integrate to your Azure Virtual Desktop service. So that's it from my side, everyone. I hope if you have any queries, you can just unmute and ask. Uh,
Yes. So quick question here.
yeah, tell me.
So suppose if I want to set up a, there is so much increase coming. Hold on a second. Can you hear me?
Yes, go on, Hussein. Tell me.
Yes. My question is, if I want to set up a machine for my developers, so instead of setting VMs nowadays, like we are setting up the VMs.
Correct.
So if I want to use the WVD, what things we have to like? What is the difference between the VM and the WVD in such case?
Okay, fine. I'll give you a simple example. For example, a VM is nothing but a virtual instance which you're going to set up. And again, if you have standardized the image as well, okay, I'm assuming you have standardized a developer image and you will be deploying using a service again. Okay, using, let's consider an ARM template. So that will be easy for you. Okay, again, in one virtual machine, if you see, there can only be two users that can log in at a moment, correct? That is by default. So if you require more users to log in, again, you need to purchase a license called Remote Desktop as a Service license, and that needs to be managed again. And there is a separate environment that needs to be set up, correct? And there is a separate overhead cost for that. And again, there is AD server. Again, if that whole instance goes down, there is no way to backup unless you have used some other backup services in order to maintain that. Okay, but coming to a WVD as a service, okay, it provides you a multi-session host. Okay, so which you don't have to worry about how many users are logged into the particular machine. Okay, because all these user profiles are being stored in a safe location into a file share, and which is highly available and which uses premium disk solution, and it provides you LRS or GRS, local redundancy or global redundancy, based on your need, based on your cost consumption, and it provides you a easier way to deploy services. So the manageability, the cost, and as well as the overhead of providing the uh, implementation would also get reduced to a minimum.
So can I use like the AD into the hybrid mode?
Yes,
Suppose
yes.
my company is having
So
my own AD.
Active Directory. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
sure. If you're using your own on-premise AD, okay, you will be establishing something called AD Connect in order to synchronize the same Active Directory to your Azure Active Directory domain. Okay, so in that case, you can leverage the single sign-on feature which is available.
Okay. So I think the same difference will be into the EC2 and VMD.
Correct, precisely. So at the end of the day, every cloud works in the same manner. Correct. So regardless of EC2 or virtual machine or GCP.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yes. So anyone else, any other queries with respect to the service or in terms of security or in terms of manageability, anything?
I have another question regarding the pricing.
Yeah, 10 years.
You said it's somewhere around 65% less in comparison to the on-prem.
Yes.
So do I have to buy into the bulk, or can I buy one by one per user?
You can even start with the minimum of 2 users, okay? Because the cost over here is the typical cost over here will be one server for the WBD as a service, and next one would be the file share. Apart from that, and it's purely the licensing cost. If you already have Windows 10 license, you can use the same license. If you are using a M365 license, again you can use the same license. So there is no other additional cost that is required input.
Okay, so I can bring my own license,
Yes,
Windows license here, so there will be
yes,
no licensing cost.
correct.
And how quickly I can set up
Uh, okay. So in terms of a organizational perspective, again, it depends upon what all network ports has to be open and how the AD is being structured and all these things has to be considered. But purely if all these prerequisites are being satisfied, this WBD as a service would hardly take you a day's time to set up.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's it from my side, guys. Thank you, Richa. Thank you, Shubham.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
very much. I
Thank you,
appreciate it.
everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you everyone for joining us our today's session. I would like to say that if anyone have joined as a guest, then please drop your email ID to avail our upcoming offers on WVD and cloud solutions, and also for receiving this kind of a webinar invite. And stay tuned with us. Thank you everyone.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Yeah, thank you, Richard. Thank you.